Hello, this is Lesson 6, Solving Variables on Both Sides, and it's page 11. I can solve an equation that contains variables on both sides of the equation. This is a follow-up on our last lesson. So I'm choosing to post this on Edpuzzle because I like the way that you get instant feedback. We're going to do this lesson, we do, and then I'm going to ask you, you do. I'm going to choose the method where we try to eliminate the variable, the term with the variable that is the weakest, in other words, the least, so that we can try to avoid some negatives. So let's get started. We're going to start by building our wall, and I want one of these terms to go away, either 8x or 5x. Since this is weaker, meaning it's the least of the two, I'm going to take the entire term away. So I want the whole term to go away. I can only do that if I do exactly the same thing on both sides of the equation. So what is left, if I had 8x minus 5x, I now have 3x, and minus 4 was not touched. We just drop it down. 5x minus 5x, we've eliminated that term, and we have plus 20, which we're going to bring down as positive 20. Now we have a basic two-step equation on our hands, so we're going to proceed as usual. I am going to work with the constant. I want to eliminate the constant mathematically, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and the minus 4 is now eliminated, leaving 3x. And on the other side of the equation is 24. So we need one last step. Side by side means multiply, so we're going to do the opposite. We are going to divide by 3 to eliminate the 3, which is known as the coefficient. So now we're left with x equals 8. So our solution is x equals 8. So now I would like you to eliminate the term that's weaker by starting, and would you please start this on your own? What would the equation look like after you've eliminated one of the terms, the weakest term, with a variable? After you've eliminated the weakest term, the least term, for x, by taking it away on both sides, you should have 2x minus 9 equals 11. What is the next step to solving this equation? The next step is to add 9 on both sides, leaving the term 2x on one side and 20 on the other. What is the solution to this equation? The solution is x equals 10. So let's move on to the next set. Looking at this next equation, the weaker term is 3x, the least term. So I'm going to get rid of this term by eliminating it mathematically. I'm going to take it away. So I'm going to build my wall. I'm going to take away 3x's, so it's no longer there, which I must do on both sides of the equation. That leaves positive 7 plus 7, so I'm going to drop it down as just 7. If I had 8x and I took away 3x's, I'd have 5x, and minus 13 also drops down. This time, the x ends up on the right side of the equation, so I'm going to start on this side by eliminating the constant. I'm going to add 13 to both sides, and what we have left over is 20 on the left side and 5x on the right side because we've eliminated our constant of minus 13. Our final step is once again starting on the right. That's where the variable is. I want to divide by 5 in order to eliminate the coefficient of 5. So I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides, and the answer is 4 equals x, or you could write that as x equals 4. It doesn't matter the order which we say this. That is the solution. So please now go to the matching equation, the parallel equation, and start this process. Please tell me what the equation would look like after you eliminate one of the variables, the weaker variable. So your equation should say 15 equals 3x minus 6. And you should have eliminated the weaker variable, which is 4x, by taking it away on both sides. What is the next step in solving this equation? You should have eliminated the constant of minus 6 by adding 6 on both sides, and you should have 21 equals 3x. Please finish the equation and state the answer. The answer should be 7 equals x, or x equals 7. Let's turn to the next page. On this page, we're going to have to really think when we talk about which is the weaker variable. So you can see we have negatives. We were able to avoid negatives last time. So if we look at this, we have negative 3x and negative 5x. The least amount is negative 5. It's furthest from 0. So we're going to eliminate that. And in the process, that might help us also avoid negatives if possible. So we're going to add 5x, or think of it as a positive 5x. And in doing so, we've eliminated this term. So if I have negative 3x plus positive 5x, I have positive 2x plus 2. We've eliminated our negative 5x, and we now have positive 18. If this would have been a minus, we would have dropped it down as negative 18. Continuing, we get rid of our constant by, subtracting 2 on both sides, which leaves 2x on the left and 16 on the right. And the final step is to divide both sides by 2, and we have x equals 8. We were able to avoid negatives in this particular problem. Let's continue on. Would you please eliminate the weaker term and tell me what you have left? The weaker term in this situation is negative 6. It's further away from 0, so on the left-hand side, so it is smaller. So now you should have had left 4x plus 5 equals 17. What is the final solution for this equation? The final answer should be x equals 3. Please check your solving steps and make corrections if needed. Let's continue on. Once again, we're going to look for the term that's an x term that is the weaker of the two. So smallest would be negative 4. It's smaller than positive 2x. So we're going to eliminate that term. We're going to start by adding 4x, or you can think of it as positive 4x again if you prefer. And now this time I see a minus sign. So I have a negative 3 left over on that side. 2x plus 4x would be 6x, and we're going to drop down minus 15. So our next solving step is to eliminate the constant, and I always start on the side where the x is. So in this case, I'm starting on the right-hand side. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Now we're getting into negatives, so we want to be very cautious, and use of your calculator would be strongly suggested. If I have a negative 3 plus 15, I'm going to have a positive 12 left over. This eliminates, just like we're able to eliminate the group of x's. We now have 6x left over exclusively on that side. And finally, starting again on the side with the variable, I'm going to divide by 6. And the final answer is 2 equals x, or x equals 2. So let's look at your equation. You're going to eliminate the weaker group of x's. Would you please state what the equation looks like after you've eliminated one of those terms? So the weaker term was negative 3x, so we added 3x to both sides. Now here's where we have to exercise a lot of caution. That minus sign drops down as a negative 2. Make sure you have that. And then the right-hand side equation should be 5x minus 22. What's the next step to solving? The next step to solving should be to add 22, and that will leave 20 on this side and 5x on the right side. What's the final answer? The final answer is 4 equals x, or x equals 4. And we're ready for our last set. This is the type of equation that many students struggle with. It kind of looks very similar to a two-step equation, but unfortunately still have variables on both sides. So if I tried to eliminate the constant, because it looks like a two-step equation, that's usually where we start, what would happen is this, I would take minus 18 and 9x minus 18. I can't combine those terms. So I would then have 9x minus 18 on this side equals 6x. So that would not help in any way eliminate or solve for the variables. Our ultimate goal is to solve for the variable. And I want to always encourage you to eliminate the one of the terms with the variables on one of the sides. Now, if I chose to eliminate this 9x, if I did that, then I would have 0 on this side. And I'd have to take away 9x on this side. That would leave negative 3x plus 18. Now, this we could do. Not only do we not get rid of the weaker variable, but this, by doing this, it's going to cost us an extra step. So I'm going to show you a quicker way and encourage you to do that. But before I do, I just want to show you that we could continue to solve this. We could take away 18 on both sides, and you do not have to write this down because we're going to use a different method to solve this. So I'm taking away the constant as usual. 0 minus 18 is negative 18. And I have dropping down the negative 3x. Then I would divide by negative 3 on both sides, and the answer would be positive 6 equals x. So we could solve it this way by eliminating the variable of 9x, realizing that we now have 0, but this costs us an extra solving step. So I want to show you a quicker way. So we're going to start this all over again. Now it turns out that this happens to be the weaker variable, so we're going to eliminate that first. However, had these two been switched, I would still start on the side that has the constant with it. That's going to help us not have an additional step. So whether this term is the weakest one or not, we're going to go ahead and start on the side that has the constant. So I'm going to take away or eliminate this group of x's. And what's going to happen is on this side, I'm going to have 3x after I take away 6 of them. I've eliminated this, and I have positive 18. I only have one more solving step now. So I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides, and the answer is x equals 6, which is what we just had a few minutes ago, but it was quite a bit more complicated. There are more steps. So I'm going to encourage you to always eliminate when you have this kind of situation where there's not a constant given along with the term with the x. Start with the side that does have the constant and eliminate that group of, or that term with the x first. So let's walk through this. On your own, which term do you think you should eliminate, 8x or 6x? I would encourage you to eliminate 6x, not necessarily because it's weaker, because it's on the side with the constant. And that will keep you from having to do an extra step in solving. So what is left? What is left over is 2x equals negative 1. What's our next solving step? Our next solving step is to divide by 2. And what is the answer when you take negative 1 divided by 2? This answer might have been a little bit surprising because we haven't solved very much or haven't used decimals so far in this lesson. So it is x equals negative 0.5. But I want to let you also know that we could leave it in fraction form. And we could have written it x equals negative 1/2. And if you're familiar with this, negative 0 5/10 is equivalent to negative 1/2. Thanks for listening and have a great day.